Welcome to WRMN 1410 AM and WRMN1410.com. My name is Dennis Sonar Green, and you are listening to a political talk show, but on a very special Free Speech Friday here on Friday the 13th. It's one of those superstitious type of days, but superstition is usually just in the mind of the beholder. If you truly believe in something, you're giving it that power. And so I like to give ideas power, including the spooky ones. Joining us today is Jill Kempner, an angel coach and healer who specializes in guiding individuals through personal and spiritual growth by connecting with their guardian angels. With over 2 decades of experience as a holistic health professional, Kempner has crafted a unique approach that combines her knowledge of Reiki, yoga, and meditation with angel communication. Her work is centered around helping clients release pain, stress, and emotional blocks by tapping into the healing power of their angels. Jill is also the author of Receiving from Your Angels: 4 Practices to Heal Your Pain with Angel Love, a book that outlines her methods and offers practical advice for deepening spiritual connections. So before I blather on any more about this amazing person, we will hear directly from her. But don't forget that you can follow her on Twitter at Jill Kempner. That is JILLKEMPNER. Jill, can you share a little bit about your journey in becoming an angel coach?
Yes, I often get asked, like, well, how did you get into this? And oftentimes I sum it up in actually one word, and I say trauma.
Oh.
Because I went through a lot of difficult and challenging experiences as a child, and I wrote about it in my book. So I have 4 practices to help you connect with the angels, heal with the angels. But as part of that, I share the stories and the experiences that I had that led me to write this book. And specifically, I like to help people who have physical pain, physical ailments and issues in the tissues to heal. And so I think, my journey began as a massage therapist when I was 18. So I was really young, and I went to massage school. I didn't go to college. I went directly to massage school, and I just fell in love with the healing arts. I fell in love with helping people relax and feel good. And, there was just so much value in the body work. Mm-hmm. And the massage led me to yoga. And fell in love. I do yoga every single day. It's just so healing, so relaxing, so centering, grounding. And my love of massage and yoga just, kind of naturally led me to energy work. But, back to the trauma, my father was murdered when I was 11 years old. And I know that set me on a path of thinking about the other side and thinking about heaven and the divine and where people go when they're not here anymore. And I know that desire to relax, to feel safe, to feel at peace led me to the massage career. And then from massage to yoga, and then to the energy work. So I started studying Reiki, which is a form of energy healing. And then it led me to the angels and the integrative energy therapy, which is one of the modalities that I work with to help people to transform the issues in the tissue. So really, it's coming from source. And we just open ourselves up. We open our hearts, we open our minds. And oftentimes that can happen because we've experienced something hard. We've experienced something difficult. So my passion, desire to heal the pain, heal the sadness, heal the grief, heal the trauma, led me to wanting to understand, why am I going through this? This is hard. My father was murdered. My mom was a single mom. My brother ended up having a mental illness, which was very difficult. And there was, when we were poor, there was a lot of challenges. And I was like, why is all this happening to us? Why is this happening to me? What does this mean? And I guess that's one of the magic questions, right? So that led me to, this path of self-discovery, getting a chance to know myself better, and to heal, right? I didn't want to be in pain. I didn't want to feel angry. I didn't want to feel, sad all the time. I wanted to be my most peaceful, joyful self. So I think that's sort of how it all started.
Yeah. Joining us as well is Matt McNeil from Out to Lunch here on WRMN. And I'm sure both of us have the burning question of Angel Oracle deck versus a tarot or a other type of reading that's out there. I mean, if you have the belief in it, you could really have a reading with a deck of bicycle playing cards if you really put meaning behind it and then allowed those energies to flow through it. What are the differences and similarities for some of these decks and readings?
Yeah, thank you for asking that. And I have to say, there is a really awesome reader at Sacred Ground. His name is Robert, who uses the bicycle, card deck, just like a regular playing card deck. So I'm going to answer your question, but I want to start by saying I got into Oracle cards because I was in a class and she had us all pull cards, and the card or the goddess that I got at that day just like really resonated with me, and it made me feel like alive. It made me feel connected. It made me feel good, like peaceful. And I was like, okay, whatever this is, I like it. So I started to collect Oracle decks and work with, mostly with the angels, but there are, goddesses and crystals and fairies and all kinds of Oracle decks, right? But I really was gravitating towards those archangel decks and the angel decks. And it was just, I was getting clarity. I was getting answers. I was getting, these moments of peacefulness that, I couldn't deny. And I was talking about with Mark, the difference between Oracle decks and tarot decks. And all of it is divination, right? It's opening up to source, to our soul, to the angelic realm, to the other side, right? Tarot tends to have a little bit more of like a predictive type of purpose, right?
Okay.
We're predicting what could happen in the future. We're predicting my mom always used to say, it wasn't about predicting the future, but it was about what energies are present. What energies are we navigating as we're moving through this, whatever, maybe it's a hard thing, maybe it's a joyful thing. So give me some guidance, right? What are the energies? What's the support? The Oracle decks, for me, have been this focal point. Now, I use my Oracle cards very specifically, and I talk about it in my book. It's all about intention. It's all about the fuel. So intention is everything. And what I teach my clients and my students is how to use the angel cards to connect with that intention, to awaken that intention, to embody that intention. It's all about intention. Energy follows intention. So we work with the cards with a very specific question, a very specific intention to get answers, to get messages, to get clarity on whatever we're going through. And oftentimes, they're often a validation of what we've already been thinking and feeling, right? It's like, oh, I totally knew that. And it's a support. So I hope that answers the question.
It does. Okay. Joe Kempner is an angel coach and author of Receiving from Your Angels, and that is 4 practices to heal your pain with angel love.
Oh, sorry?
Go ahead. But your question?
Oh, I didn't have a question. You answered my question about the tarot versus the angel cards, because I had kind of worked a little bit in that in tarot reading when I was in college.
Oh.
There's actually a store called the Gypsy Haven here in Elgin. Oh. So I very much recognize the different cards, the different tools that are used. And I was always, especially later into high school and earlier into college, I was very fascinated with that. So that's why I joined on today, because I was very fascinated about learning a little bit more about the difference between the two, and also hearing, of course, like you said, it's all about intention, and that's exactly, what I in the past had followed too. And, maybe even, seeing, is there also a place where I could maybe even use it again? Because I haven't in a while. So it's kind of, it just, the whole thing is very fascinating to me, learning about what's out there, the unknown, what we already know, and how these tools we can use to help ourselves and also others too. So,
and I think that's a great way to put it too, Matt, is the tool aspect of it is just like you would have a cell phone to receive a call or a letter to receive a message from there too. I think a lot of what energy practices is using a way to kind of read those energies that are in there. Let's talk a little bit about the book. The book from Receiving from Your Angels. What inspired you to actually to move from just a practitioner to a author to help other people?
Yeah. When I'm trying to think how old I was 30 something, and I got the guidance that I would write a book. And my angels, and I was like, then I felt like this, oh my God, I have to write this book, and what is it about? And I have no idea, and I just heard you're going to write it when you're 40. So I kind of let it go for a little while and just, was like, okay, tell me what this book is about and what it's going to be within it and all of that. And when I turned 40, the divine download came through to, part of my medicine, because I've experienced so much pain, and I can say physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, I wanted to help others to heal pain. That is like my mission. And I can really sit here today like pain-free because of the practices in my book.
On all four categories?
So
pain-free?
sometimes the physical is always going to be the most challenging, right? Because it's the densest of all the layers. But really at a state of, deep peace, and the pain that I had while I was writing the book that was, that I was transforming, the shoulder pain, the knee pain and the shoulder pain, it's gone. And it's gone because I didn't just write the book and publish it, but I'm sharing it, I'm teaching it, and I'm living it. So I'm living the practices: renew your devotion, relax and cherish your body, release and lead with your heart, and receive and trust your intuition. So each one of these practices feeds your connection, supports and aligns your connection with your team of angels, and of course beyond that, right, source. So I just kept following the breadcrumbs and trusting, but I knew that one thing I knew is that what we go through is our medicine. And it's part of our gift. And I knew that I had went through all this pain, and then I learned all these amazing tools, energy medicine, and I had to put it all together. And I just kept listening step by step by step, and they kept giving me the clarity, making it super practical, relatable, and I think usable for everyone.
And you had mentioned a few times, and even then, executive producer Ben Demoni and Boquest had brought it in as well, about working your spiritual muscles. I mean, there's so many different, even philosophers that are out there. Steiner, Proust, Nietzsche, all talk about the spiritual organs, the heavy lifting that a lot of us have to do spiritually before we can start asking harder, heavier questions. Was some of your experiences as just a person in general through your childhood and everything else, has that made you stronger in working with some of your people here with different things to the point where even if I am spiritually slightly weaker, you kind of know what kind of workout regimen I might I might need to do to get to that?
You got it. You read my mind. So what I do with my clients, right, is I meet them where they're at, and I teach them how to meditate.
Okay.
I teach them how to work with the oracle cards.
And like Matt had said, is that another one of your tools
Yes.
for everything?
Absolutely. And that when you said that, I wanted to jump in. There was a one little part, but you brought it back with the daily devotional practice. So it's either like an angel, I'm starting to call it an angel practice, but in my book, it's called the daily devotional practice. Okay. And part of why I use the word devotional was because I wrote a whole chapter about devotion, renewing your devotion, because we make this commitment to heal. Mm-hmm. We make this commitment to stay aligned with our angels, to connect with our angels. And then we're human, and we forget, we fall, we fail, we stumble, and we have to re-devote. We have to recommit over and over and over again. So a big part of why people hire me is to sort of keep you on track. So I create the template for you, and then I keep you on track with it. And then in the healing sessions, in the coaching sessions, we're doing energy work to transform that specific pain, that specific issue in the tissue. So it's kind of like team effort, right? Mm-hmm. You're doing your own work in between the sessions. Right, in between, because I have several coaching programs.
Yeah, you still have to work out even at the gym.
Yes.
I can't hire you to go and run the treadmill for me, yeah. And then I lose the weight. It's like, well, no, I still have to do the work, but that's where the coaching aspect comes in.
Exactly. We come up together with your fuel, and, it's like, how do you really want to feel, and then knowing that there's an opposite energy to that you might need some help with, right? We can have this beautiful intention of peace, but the shadow could be pain. And we need help move to align with peace, right? Devote and redevote over and over again. We need that support. We need that coaching support. We need the support of the practices, the support of our own personal practice to really do the deep healing and the deep transformation that can happen. Can I share just a little something? So I just the 11th, which is September 11th, which is a big day for the America. I went to the psych hospital 18 years ago on that day. And as the anniversary approached, I almost forgot it was my anniversary. Mm. And in a good way, because I had done so much reframing, healing, transforming, alchemizing of that super hard and painful, humbling experience that I went through. And I had my daughter, and I had some I had a little postpartum depression, but I really actually had post-traumatic stress disorder, and it was undiagnosed. They didn't know what it was. And it took me years to actually, after that hospital visit and my dark night of the soul, which I write about in practice number 1, it took me years to understand that's what it was. So I can sit here today with such gratitude in my heart for that day, for that time frame, whereas the first 10 years was very painful. I had shame, I had judgment, just all this stuff. And now it's like, oh my gosh, that was an opening for me. That was a change in direction that allowed me to eventually write my book. And my husband did say that. He said, you're going to write a book one day from this hard thing you're going through right now. And he was one of my people holding me up during that time. So I don't know how we got on that, but I just feel like I'm so proud of the work that I've done to get to a place of mental health and well-being. And I know it's because of my commitment to helping people heal pain, my commitment to the practices of my book. I am one of those people that walks the talk.
Jill Kempner is an angel coach and healer who specializes in guiding individuals through personal and spiritual growth by connecting with their guardian angels. With over 2 decades of experience as a holistic health professional, Kempner has crafted a unique approach that combines her knowledge of Reiki, yoga, and meditation with angel communication.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
Oh, you were going to say something?
Oh, I did have a
Yeah.
question, actually.
Sure.
So you mentioned your own PTSD and getting through that. Is that a common thing that people come to see you for, or what would you say the most common thing you help people work through is?
Thank you for asking that. I've worked with so many different clients with different issues, but absolutely PTSD, the different traumas that we've experienced and then the subsequent post-traumatic stress disorder that comes through.
Right, because so many people don't understand that they even have that.
Absolutely. So I think part of part of the hard things I went through, right, is now sharing and talking about it and saying, hey, this is what I experienced. And these are the tools, these are the healing modalities that I used to actually create transformation, to be able to talk about it. And a lot of it has to do with understanding the deeper meaning of why we went through. That's a big part of what I do with my clients, is I help them to understand what that pain means, whether the pain is physical or emotional. So I help people with, if they're feeling really stuck around a certain emotion, it could be anger, it could be grief, it could be PTSD, we face it, right? We face it with our light, we face it with all the tools. And so it can be a vulnerable experience. Because we're opening up, right? We're opening up that wound, but we're not doing it alone, right? We have this team of angels. We have, our soul supporting us. And then, of course, we have, me and my angels and my practices and my book and all of that. So I'm working more towards helping people now with physical pain. Of course, when I was a massage therapist for 20 years, I was working with, knee pain, hip pain, shoulder pain, different kind of orthopedic, pains. And it's fascinating to see somebody get into a deep state of relaxation without me even touching them, and their pain is gone. So I can take someone from an 8 to a 2 in about a half an hour.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
And it's just something that so many people don't realize they need, or they're looking in the wrong places, or just not acknowledging it at all. So it's great that you're a resource for that.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
Jill is
Great
the
question.
author of Receiving from Your Angels, 4 Practices to Heal Your Pain with Angel Love, a book that outlines her methods and offers practical advice for deepening spiritual connections. Her work is centered around helping clients release pain, stress, and emotional blocks by tapping into the healing power of their angels. When we come back, we will talk a little bit more with Jill and the angel coaching, maybe even see a practice or two, one of her many tools in her toolbox. Thank you very much for being here, both you, the listener, and you, Jill Kempner. We will be back with more Apolitical Talk Show after this. You're listening to Apolitical Talk Show right here on WRMN and streaming live on YouTube, youtube.com/@WRMN Radio. It is Free Speech Friday right here on Apolitical Talk Show. And what freer speech could we possibly have than speaking with our angels? Jill Kempner is an angel coach and healer who specializes in guiding individuals through personal and spiritual growth by connecting with their guardian angels. With over 2 decades of experience as a holistic health professional, Kempner has crafted a unique approach that combines her knowledge of Reiki, yoga, and meditation with angel communication. Her work is centered around helping clients release pain, stress, and emotional blocks by tapping into their healing power of their angels. Jill is also the author of Receiving from Your Angels, 4 Practices to Heal Your Pain with Angel Love, a book that outlines her methods and offers practical advice for deepening spiritual connections. Thank you very much for joining us. We really appreciate that.
Thank you so much. This is a pleasure.
Matt is going to move some energies around the room a little bit here, infuse a little bit in there. We will ask our better angels to communicate with us. And I do not want to steal any kind of thunder from anybody, so go ahead and take it away.
So we're going to do a 3-card angel reading for Matt. Around transforming some sadness into peace. So what we want to do when we're pulling cards is to ask, we're asking as if it's already done. And because we're tapping into the highest possible vibration. So we don't want to ask, why am I so sad? Because we're bringing in more sadness. We want to ask, how is it that I'm going to feel peace about my childhood experience? How's that sound?
That sounds good.
Okay, great. All right, and we're working with, I want to give credit where credit is due, the Kyle Gray Angel Guide deck. This is not my deck, but I use it all the time with all my clients. This is the #1 deck because it's a direct message from your guardian angels, and it's clean, it's clear. I just want to say this is so important before we do this. All the messages from the angels are positive, loving, constructive, trustworthy, uplifting. So there's nothing sort of scary or, kind of worrisome or any of that, right? It's always going to be uplifting, peaceful, and positive. So I just want to plant that seed of working with the angels. So we're going to ask, how is it that Matt is receiving his next level of peace around his birth mother and his childhood experience? Okay, so we clear the deck. We knock on it 3 times and then we shuffle. This is a message directly from your guardian angels about feeling more peace. So I'm just going to lay them out. Romance and connection, divine downloads, intuition and downloads, and spiritual growth. Actually, this is the card. This card is actually the front cover of the whole entire deck. So that always has a little significance, each little card. And look at these colors. The first thing I'm drawn to is the yellow and the gold. Do you see that in all of them? Yeah. For some reason, romance and connection, this is about keeping your heart open, letting your heart stay open. When we have that sadness and that grief that we feel like we're carrying from our family, it can close our heart a little bit and close off that intimacy that we want, that we desire. So the first thing your guardian angels are saying is, keep your heart open. Look at that golden light spinning around the heart, and knowing that this is what I'm hearing as you release the sadness, as you release the grief around your experience and your birth mother and all of that, you're going to feel a renewed sense of connection. My sense is to another person, not just the angels, but it could also be the angels, because this is kind of an angel, around this person. This could be about, deepening your intimacy, opening your heart to the next level, knowing that you're safe too. So that's what I hear from this card. Probably more. Sometimes I go to all 3 and then come back. Okay. The middle card is so interesting because Ben mentioned, I said, we're going to get some divine downloads. And he goes, I like that. And then you got intuition and downloads. So what I see and feel from this is you need to pay attention to those moments of peace, right? Pay attention to how, when your angels are communicating with you through your psychic senses. So we have 5, I talk about this in my book, we have 5 channels to the angels. We have 5 channels to the divine. Claircognizance at the crown, which means clear thought or clear knowing. Clairvoyance at the 3rd eye, which is clear vision, clear seeing. Clairaudience at the ears, which means clear hearing. Clear fragrance at the mouth and throat, which is like clear scent or taste. And then clear sentience in the belly. So this is paying attention to all of your intuitive channels, letting the sadness go out of those intuitive channels so they're more open to the downloads and to the further connection that you can have moving forward now that you have this more knowledge about your birth mother and your family. What can you do with it moving forward, right? So we didn't talk so much about this, but this is important to name. When you're working with the angels, it's about asking, right? You have to ask. for them to help you. They're here, they're ready, willing, and able, and we have to ask. So I feel this is also about asking for help, asking for your intuition to be open, asking for the downloads that can support you in letting go of that sadness, letting go of the grief, the heaviness in your heart, and just being open. And I just love that image, right, of the downloads coming through into the third eye, and then the heart. Look at that golden heart expanding open, another golden heart. And the third card is, to me, very clear that as you let go of the sadness, as you let go of the grief, you're going to feel the sense of spiritual growth. You're going to know that it's sort of like what I was mentioning before about how I almost forgot it was the anniversary of that challenge that I went going to the psych hospital 18 years ago, because I had done so much integration, so much purposeful, intentional healing. And so it's like, know that as you look at this sadness, as you look at the grief, right, through the eyes of your angels, right, through the eyes of your soul, that you will experience the spiritual growth, this awakening to higher, the higher vision of why everything happened the way it happened, how everything unfolded. So we keep asking, what lesson did I learn? What lesson am I learning, right, from this pain? What lesson am I learning from this sadness? Spiritual growth is about having the courage to ask, right? What am I learning? And what am I learning from continuing to hold on to that sadness, to that grief, to that heaviness in my heart? And what are you talked about passing things down. What are we transmuting or transforming for our lineage? So we have to also say, well, am I carrying something that's not mine?
Yeah.
That's part of the spiritual growth, right? It's being able to have the courage to release, the courage to look at what you've been through the eyes of love and through the eyes of the third eye. You see that third eye glowing there? I'm not sure if we could see that third eye glowing, but it's just absolutely beautiful and coming through so joyfully. I don't know how long that took, but I would love to hear how that resonated and what came up for you if we have another minute or two.
Yeah. With the spiritual growth, it feels like, I'll say this. So I had learned that there was some alcoholism in the family, my mother and my grandmother too. And so part of me had kind of worried, like, would that happen to me? It was never, ever a problem. Alcoholism for me, never, ever. I barely ever drink. But sometimes, like, in the back of my head, I was like, when I found that, I was like, is that going to happen to me? And also the hardships that they went through too, financially especially. Very, there was a lot of poverty in the family. So sometimes I wonder, will I be going through the same thing? Or can I also say, no, I'm not going to allow that to happen. So I think it's maybe it's also a confidence issue too at times. But that I think these cards all spoke to me very well. So
yeah, and I think the other part about spiritual growth is finding peace in the pain. Yeah. It's turning, and that's what I do, is I turn me and the angels, right? My practices in my book turn pain into peace, right? By seeing it through a higher perspective, right? To understand the deeper meaning of why we go through what we go through. Yeah. So, beautiful.
Yeah. And I think, finding out this information, and my birth mother, she's passed away. She passed away from cancer in 2014. And I kind of just shoved it down. I didn't think about it, but very recently it's been kind of coming back and it's starting to resonate with me, like, hearing what she went through and then leaving this earth, it was like, it was saddening to me. So it didn't take away, of course, at all in any way how grateful I am for being adopted and the wonderful family that I do have. But it's more of, this is who I biologically came from. And sometimes I wonder, like, I hope that I don't have to go through what she had to. So.
Yeah, and I think that's why you got a different life and a new life, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that and being so open
Oh,
about
you're
it.
very welcome. Thank you.
And I feel like, the reading keeps unfolding for you, right? So, but knowing that spiritual growth is coming when you trust your intuition and keep your heart open to love, keep your heart open to connection, keep your heart open, right? Keep your heart open to love and the love that we can have from our mothers from the other side. My mother's also on the other side as well. So, just keeping those channels open, so we can keep healing. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think also this experience for me finding my birth family also helped me to appreciate the life that I have here too. Because I think about if I wasn't adopted, what I possibly could have gone through with some of the other more personal stories. So
Yes.
I'm very grateful.
Yeah. And that's the attitude of gratitude is one of the things I talk about in my book, keeping our hearts open, because that's how our heart is the gateway to our angel's love. And when our heart is open, my whole medicine of my book is about receiving, right? Being able to open up. And how do we receive from our angels? We receive by asking, we receive through our breath, and we receive through intention.
Absolutely.
So
Well, thank you so much.
yeah, you're welcome.
I already feel more at peace now. So
Awesome.
I greatly
All right.
appreciate it a
And
lot.
we welcome the angels of peace as well.
Thank you.
To keep working with you and around you as you move through this. So yeah, I'm grateful.
I appreciate that a lot. You do such a great job with helping others and recognizing what's at the core, bringing it outward, looking at it face to face, and saying, "How are we going to find peace with this?" And I love it. It's all about the intention, like you said. So
Yeah.
I appreciate it so much.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity. And I'm excited to see how this keeps unfolding for you. 'Cause
Yes,
it just,
me too.
There's more. There's always more.
Because it is exciting. It is exciting.
It
too.
is
Yeah.
exciting, especially the romance and connection, right?
Yeah.
Starting with that. So always a good thing.
Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome so much.
Joe Kempner, do you have me off? Joe Kempner is a angel coach and healer who specializes in guiding individuals through personal and spiritual growth by connecting with their guardian angels. Through the process that we saw here, you asked about the intention. Is that something that you specifically start to, when you go into a reading or the oracle side of things, is that something that you focus on? Because I can't just turn around and be like, so what you doing? It has to be more of that intentional aspect of everything, or is it more of a generality of like, how are we feeling today or something like that?
Well, the oracle cards are a tool
Okay.
that we use, right, to receive, to open up, to so it's everything is intention with the oracle cards. The more accurate the more intentional you are, the more accurate the reading will be.
Okay.
So it's all intention, and then there's a special way of asking, right? We're really not asking yes or no questions. We're asking about. So what we actually want is that feeling.
Okay.
So when we can get to that core feeling, that's what it's all about. We think we want the thing, but we actually want the feeling that thing is going to give us. So if we can align with that now, we can align with the feeling, that vibration, that energy, we're more open to receiving the vision, the steps, the path to that energy. And we're also, when we're intentional about the reading of peace, he said, I already feel a little more peaceful because that was your intention. Yep. So we keep coming, whatever your intention is, we keep coming back to it over and over again when we're looking at the reading. So what I do with my clients is I help them choose a fuel and stay devoted to it, no matter what that opposite energy is, right? So we're going to have, those, we're in a plane of duality. We have the opposite energies that we're coming up against or working through or whatever. And we just have to keep devoting and redevoting over and over again to that intention, to that fuel, until it's fully embodied. And we don't know how long that takes. That's, how long it'll take for you to have full peace around that experience, what your mom went through. We don't surely know, but the more purposeful, the more intentional, the more committed and devoted you are, the more peace you'll feel. Is that kind of?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. And where can people go to find more information about you and sign up for your programs or sign up for the coaching?
Yeah, so I have something called a breakthrough conversation. So everything's on my website. It's my name, JillKempnerHealing.com. And I have something called the breakthrough conversation. So it's a free 1-hour conversation that's over Zoom. That are for people interested in hiring me as their coach, to really understand what I can offer them. So in that 1-hour conversation, what I do is I help you choose your fuel, something we've talked about a few times, right? Get really clear about that intention, the energy you want to embody, the energy you want to feel. And then I share the angelic perspective of that issue in the tissue, of that pain that you're going through. I say, okay, here's what your angels are saying about this wound, this pain, this shoulder pain, this hip pain, this knee pain, this gut pain. Here's what your angels are saying about it. And here's the path to healing it.
Okay.
And then if we're a good fit, I share the details of my coaching program with that potential client.
Where can people find the book?
My book, Amazon.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, Amazon. I'm actually looking to get it into some more local stores. It is also at Sacred Ground, which is in Arlington Heights. They have a few copies of my book as well, but you can get it on Amazon. Oh, thank you, Lovey. You can get it on Amazon. And it's actually, so the publisher that I hired, Inspire Bites Omni Media, and Martina Faulkner, it's print on demand.
Okay.
So instead of there being 100,000 copies of this book sitting somewhere in a warehouse, it's printed as people order them, which I think is kind of cool. It's supposed to be a little bit more environmentally friendly.
And you don't have a garage full of boxes.
I don't have a garage full of boxes of my books. I do have some books at home, but it's print on demand, and Amazon's pretty good and pretty accurate about getting them out to people right away. And so.
Receiving from your angels 4 practices to heal your pain with angel love. Again, that's Receiving from Your Angels, written by Jill Kempner. And you can find Jill on Instagram, Jill Kempner-Angel Coach, all one word. Twitter at Jill Kempner, Kempner. Thank you very much for coming on today. Do you have any wisdom that you can partake or disseminate to us that might help us get through this Friday the 13th?
So what I have to say about Friday the 13th is that it's a goddess day.
Wow.
So this is the day of the goddess because there are 13 moon cycles. So this actually, Friday the 13th had to do with the lunar cycle and the moon. So it's actually a day of connecting with the divine feminine, the intuitive, nurturing, unconditionally loving and compassionate side of all of us. So it's really a time of actually reflection and gratitude and nourishment, nourishing ourselves from the inside out, nourishing ourselves with, quiet, with breath, with stillness. And I'm actually, I'm being guided to just pull. Do we have time to just pull one card?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I feel like let's pull a card, right? So how is it that we are feeling, I feel like joyful, right? How is it that we're feeling joyful on this day of the goddess? Let's see what our angels are saying, the guardian angels. This is for everyone listening, everyone who's ever going to listen to this, everybody here. Let's see. I love this card. All right, strength and guidance.
Wow.
So this is about and I love the universe inside of the heart, right? There's a universe in the heart. So it's about keeping our hearts open to the divine downloads, the divine downloads, to the intuition, to all the ways that we are supported, all the ways that we are loved, all the ways that we're held by a power greater than ourselves, and by this beautiful team of angels that we have around us. So what I feel is to feel the joy, let yourself feel the strength of your team, the strength of the divine feminine, of the divine mother, of source energy, and let yourself be guided step by step. I also feel like this is about bringing in more strength, right? Being your strongest self and letting the joy that is your natural self come through. Let yourself be joyful, feel the strength and guidance. And I'm sure there's more, but that's a good ending.
Thank you very much.
And we are
you so
in a waxing gibbous right now. We checked earlier, so just what that means. I think
The full moon cycle begins on Sunday,
Good vibes.
peaks on Tuesday. So
There it goes. Jill Kempner practice draws on her belief that angels are loving, supportive beings that can provide comfort, guidance, and healing in everyday life. She offers private coaching sessions, group workshops, and online courses. Find more information on her Instagram, Jill Kempner-Angel Coach, or JillKempnerHealing.com. Thank you very much again for being here with us. It has been such a blessing.
thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
There it is. A political talk show right here on WRMN will continue. We've got Drew Sognowski coming in with us as well for Free Speech Friday. Don't change that dial. We'll be right back with more A Political Talk Show on the Talk of the Town, WRMN.